Sick, it was the pledge.
On my cane.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I still want me to trip on it.
Any disclosures of conflicts of interest?
Nope.
Okay. And so then we'll do the oath of office for chairman, commissioners, and alternates. Daisy?
I'll stand and raise your right hand.
Redo it again.
Yeah. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of
Of my office with fidelity.
Thank you, Daisy. Okay, need an approval of the agenda order. Everybody look at the agenda and any issues?
Nope.
They're going to be a continuation on one item.
Yeah, that'll be addressed when that item comes up, but yeah.
And I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as posted.
A second.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes. And further review, let's see. Review of possible approval of planning commission meetings, minutes from December 13th. Everything look good?
It looks good.
Okay, looking for a motion.
I motion that we approve the agenda meeting minutes from December 13th as approved.
I second that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining because I missed that meeting. I did
Right.
watch it and review and it looked
I
good.
abstained because I wasn't a member of the planning commission at that
Okay.
time.
Got that, Daisy? 3. Okay, reports. Planning chairs, and that's me. So there's a couple of things I'd like to make a couple little changes before we get too far. Like on the voting, when we have something come up, instead of doing a line item at each person and going through and all that, it's not necessary. So what we'll do is we'll just do a all in favor, aye, any opposed, nay. Then if there's anybody that opposes, then I'll call out who that is, and then we'll, just for the record, that way. I'm trying to look at how can we do things to kind of expedite this
Yes.
moving along. That's one of the items. Let's see. One other thing I need to mention is that the meeting for February will be the 13th instead of the 14th. And then also historically, well, the last couple of chairs, and I don't know why, but they chose not to make any motions. Since the chair is a voting member, I can still make a motion. And so I want to give everybody a chance to voice their opinion and make whatever motion they feel, but at times we'll also make a motion. And then Riker, that's all I have. Then Riker.
Yeah, so just a brief update. We had the opportunity this week, since Monday through today, to attend a growing water smart workshop where they discussed the relationship between water and land use, and we'll have a little bit more thorough report on that in the upcoming planning commission meeting. But the current projects that we're working on, to give you some updates on those, we're working on our subdivision ordinance to bring that into compliance with state code. But we've been able to obtain some additional information and resources from the Utah League of Cities and Towns to help us bring that code into compliance. And anyway, expedite that process, hopefully. We have a draft of that we're working on. It is not complete, but we're actively working on that. We're also working on our grading ordinance and just making some good progress there. We're working on criminalizing our code. We're currently finalizing drafts on the different sections of our codes that reference those penalties that are applicable there. We're also working on an ordinance regarding preliminary and final site plans. We have a pretty good working draft of that. We're hoping to have something soon come before you. Additionally, we're also working on ordinances addressing accessory dwelling units, parks, time-limited parking, and our retaining wall ordinance, among others. So
I have a question.
Sure.
We tabled the ordinance about the animals last month. Is that something you're still working on as
yes,
well?
we're currently doing some research on that and trying to get a draft together for your review.
Any other questions from staff? So, and I apologize, I meant to talk to you about this so you'd be a little prepared, and so you don't need to go too much. But I noticed in city council, they've made changes to 10.3, which affects planning commission on missing meetings and things like that. Do you remember off the top of your head? There was like, if you missed 25, two
Daisy,
meetings?
do you have
Two
those?
consecutive.
2 consecutive meetings without contacting Daisy, myself, or
There's a-
Darren, the mayor. Let somebody,
It's typically the city office, which would be Daisy.
Mhm.
right? So that's one thing I just want
Yeah.
to make sure everyone's aware.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I've got one other thing I need to set back to mind. I just want to thank Tylee and Angela for being the alternates, and for Jenny and Dean to be commissioners. So as an alternate, when we're having discussions here amongst ourselves, I fully expect you guys to jump in. You don't have a vote when you're down there, but we really do want your opinions on what is happening. Okay, so I want you to feel that you don't have to be,
Seen-
reserved, seen and not heard, right? Or feel like, come up as a regular citizen, we really do want your opinions. Okay?
So question,
Yes, sir.
clarification. With the alternates and stuff, if we can't make a meeting, we give you enough notice so you can make sure they can fill in,
That is correct.
and this just proper.
Correct.
Correct. And then you would be voting if you're up here. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Darren?
Okay. So just with my report is basically we are working with the travel center, the Sapp Brothers Travel Center. They have posted their bonds. They're ready to start moving dirt up there across the street from the RV park. We'll start seeing that within probably the next 2 weeks, mobilizing of big equipment and things, so that that's moving forward. We have a lot of just with our planning and staff reviews, we're having a few people kick the tires to see what they can do with their properties, and a few things moving forward with that. The Parkway, as you can see, is continuing along fine. We're moving forward with that. As you guys had, the Planning Commission had approved, as well as City Council, the phases 1 and 2 of Firelight. They are actually starting to build those phases simultaneously. They will not be allowed to go vertical until the Parkway is complete. But they are building their subdivisions, their streets, their underground, and things like that. Just so you have that general knowledge. And I don't know if you guys have something for me as far as that, Dean. Yes.
Do you have a proposed completion date for the bypass?
Right now, we were hoping for March, April, March. There's a few things that have came up that we need to address. We're working on that, so that's going to push it back a little bit. We're hoping only just a few months, though. So as far as a drop dead time date, no, we don't at this point. If everything, I don't know, when you've built a home, if anybody's built a home, you're always hoping for that best, that the contractor's giving you that best date. Doesn't seem like it always hits there, because there's small things that come up, or things that come up, and can push that back. We were fully anticipating that in the first quarter of 2024 to finish this thing. It might be a little bit farther back, maybe in the second quarter, we're hoping. So.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any other questions? Okay. So we'll move to E, business items. Discussion on nightly rental application submitted by Daisy Johnson, tax ID number TAHPA 67. Current zoning is R120, single family residential. So before, what I'd like to do is, Daisy, you're here?
So she's identified Keisha Fry as her,
Oh, Keisha,
could speak for her as her agent.
you want to stand up and tell us what's happening, and so we can,
You could probably have staff go forward.
Not on here.
I know, I got rid of it, I don't know why. Change that next month for sure. Do you have anything you want to,
I'm just here to represent Daisy. I live in Tokerville and will be her property manager. And so there'll be a real close watch on the home, and it's purely to supplement income. We don't have a goal to have people in there every night. It's to help them while they're not here.
okay. Does anybody have any questions for Keisha? Okay, thank you. So we'll open it up for a public hearing input. It's sought on the nightly rental application submitted by Daisy Johnson.
Chairman, real quick, just
Yes.
maybe a point of order. Do you want any type of input from staff before you go
Oh,
into the public?
yes, sorry, thank you very
You're good.
much.
Um,
Keep me straight.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just didn't, if you had some different.
No,
Or you'd like to go, we're willing to work with you.
thank you.
As you can see in your item agenda sheet, this application submitted by Daisy Johnson has been reviewed by staff and has been deemed complete per Title 10, Chapter 20, or that should be Chapter 17, not 27. Title 10, Chapter 17, Section 3 of the Tokerville City Code, which is our nightly rental ordinance. They're listed in your staff comments. You can see each of the individual items that we've gone through to review that. In addition to that, just for your general information, the proposed nightly rental is based on our measurements with the tools that we have, is 666 and a half feet from the nearest approved nightly rental. And so it does meet those distance requirements specified in 1017-3I. And it's before you for your review.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for staff right now? Okay, so now we'll move into the public comment period.
Yeah, my name is Bruce Mackay, live at 1198 South Mulberry, which is right next door to Daisy Johnson's home. And we moved to Tokerville because of the fact that it's a, peaceful, small town, peaceful, quiet and whatever. And now the proposal is to have, a nightly rental next door. We can all assume that it's not a problem, but you can also look at the problems that, we've all seen documented in numerous places. We have some concerns, and I think you have in front of you, we submitted kind of a petition from, I think, signed by 22 of the neighbors that just do not support having this in the neighborhood because of one thing, well, three primary things. One is potential impact on property values, that having the rental there, a nightly rental, whatever, Airbnb, VRBO, whatever it'll be, has potential negative impact on our property values. Second is just the increase in additional unknown traffic in the area. We already have kind of some traffic because we're not too far off of where the bypass road is. And fortunately, most of the big trucks are going down Westfield, but that's again still in the same, one street over. So we're getting some of that. But this will, we believe just having unknown people in the neighborhood, because we kind of, everybody knows, and we're trying to have a neighborhood instead of a motel or whatever sitting next to us. And the third thing is just the safety, security, and privacy. I can't
tomorrow, I will complain, but it doesn't make any difference because we happen to have the lowest house. So this house sits above us looking down into our yard. We do have a swim spa in there. We have an open fence because we wanted, again, to appreciate the topography of Tokerville and the desert and everything. Granted, they can look down into it. We are a little bit concerned that somebody could be easily come over the fence, when we're not there, which is periodic because we have a place also up at the creek. So it's, we're not there all the time and we don't want somebody coming in and using the pool, unwanted. I guess just one additional little thing is that we already have a truck stop next to us with our south neighbor on the south who has semis parked in his driveway and whatever. Do we want a motel on the other side? If it is, can we rename Mulberry to like Route 66 West or something? Because, it's just, again, we came here for peace and quiet in a small town. And unfortunately, things seem to be eroding on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I failed to mention that there's a 3-minute time limit, so please go
I don't
ahead.
have that much to say.
Okay, please state your name.
My name is Candace Kadama, and my husband Ken Hales and I live at 1185 South Mulberry Drive, almost across the street from this property in discussion. And like Bruce said, I concur with everything that he says. We moved here because we like the quiet little town that Tokerville is. And my concern is safety. If this was a monthly rental or maybe a rental or long-term, but a nightly rental, I came from California and I had a neighborhood that was beautiful at one time. Things changed. A lot of people, homeless people came in around the corner, a lot of Airbnbs, and it just brought in, it was the start of riffraff. And I really don't want to see that happen to our little town. Very family-oriented, community-oriented, and that's why we moved here. So I really am against this, and so is Ken Hales.
Thank you.
I'm Candy Lovett, and my husband and I live at 1225 South Mulberry, which is right next door to Ken and Candy and across the street from Ken and Bruce. We also feel very much the same as Bruce and Candy. We don't want to have it to be a nightly rental. We moved here for the same thing. We came from the Las Vegas area. We came because this is a kind, sweet, kind town where we have a really tight-knit neighborhood. We all know each other, and we brought ourselves here and our family here for safety. And we have a 14-year-old daughter, and so our safety for her and for our family is our number one concern. And so it does bring up concerns to have we don't know anybody renting. We like to think that everyone that comes to rent a place is going to be kind and nice and respect privacy, but that isn't always the case with a nightly rental. So myself and my husband, Jason, who couldn't be here tonight, we would like to see this not go through.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm Kim Mackay, Bruce's wife. Daisy and Ronlin's house is right above ours and looks directly down onto ours. There are 22 signatures, and most of them are within the 300-foot limit that we acquired from neighbors. I think of that, there was only 2 neighbors that we didn't get to. There was also neighbors within the 500-foot area that signed off against it, and everybody was pretty adamant against it. Tokerville has no Tokerville Police Department. Tokerville has no Tokerville Fire Department. 6 months or 9 months after we moved in, we watched 2 firemen in my nightgown standing in front of my back door trying to prevent the fire to come down into our section of the neighborhood. And 2 years ago, fire was a big thing. I know we had a lot of snow. My husband said we go up to Duck Creek. 4 years ago, there were 40 nightly rentals up there. There's now 140. My concern is this hurts the entire town. We've seen At first we bought a small cabin up there. When we sold it, we had people coming through that were buying 4 cabins that weekend, investors. And it's pulling down the property values for the entire town. Your children cannot afford to stay and live here. I had one neighbor that said, my kids can't buy or afford to live here. We have 2 grandsons that live up the street. We're concerned for strangers and traffic. It's sad. My daughter is an archaeologist for Zion National Park. 3 years ago, she had a staff of 12. Now there's no affordable housing here because it's all being bought up and turned into rental property. And she is lucky to get a staff of 3 and cannot get things maintained in the park and do the grants that she's offered to take care of the park. The park's gone from 1 or 2,000 or million visitors to 5. We have to protect our area and our resources. We don't have the water for this kind of thing also. Daisy and Bronwyn come down once every 6 weeks to 8 weeks. Now we're looking at night rentals. I mean, I think the city just did their study last year and our springs were down 20 to 30%. With nightly rentals, it's just going out the door. We are kept up at night when we go up to Duck Creek. Our neighbor next door that had lived and had cabins up there for 40 years sold his cabin. He says it's not livable to come up here and rest. And this is my home. I don't want, it's bad enough with the truck stop next door where I'm being woken up at 4 and 6 in the morning. And so I'm asking you to protect all the citizens. And this is not something positive.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? So I move break, come out of
We
the,
have 2 letters to be read.
oh, sorry.
Yep.
Yes, we have 2 letters here that need to be read.
Okay, this one is from Deborah Adam. It says, for the Planning Commission meeting scheduled for January 10th, 2024, public hearing. My name is Deborah Adam. My concerns about this are, number 1, noise problems. Number 2, late, loud parties and increased off-road vehicle traffic that is loud and unpiped. Number 3, if I need to contact the property owner and designated person and they don't respond within the 30-minute time frame, how will that be handled? Number 4, decreased property value. Number 5, increased crime in our neighborhood. Sincerely, Deborah Adam.
Okay. And my letter is from Pam and Ron LaFleur. They live at 1098 South Mulberry Drive, just I think 2 houses away. They said, we moved here because of the family residential neighborhood. It's not a business area. We do not need nightly strangers in our neighborhood. We picked this area for residential and small town atmosphere. Once an application accepted, then our rights are gone. It is a business. No on-site supervision by owner. They are out of town. A separate business runs the rental. We have a children's park across the street, so it will bring more traffic, more street parking. The length of stay can be longer than nightly. And the police security is miles away.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Again, my name is Keisha Frey, and this is just a letter from Bronwyn. So they are watching. They say, we apologize that we are not able to be there with all of you. Buying a house in Gilbertville was a dream for us and part of our retirement plan. We care very deeply about our neighbors and have tried to create good relationships with them. To address the concerns of the property values and security issues, we hope that Keisha, as property manager of many homes, can attest to the safety and lack of disruptions of nightly rentals. End quote there. And I would just say all the concerns raised, I have never seen issues with the few homes that I do manage. And their goal is to get quality, high-paying renters in, not just someone off the street. But we understand all of the points.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a comment?
Sure.
I guess, how do you ensure that it's quality? I mean,
Was a
we
mistake
use
on my part.
Airbnb and VRBO, and they don't do a background check on me. So, I mean, how do you understand the
Okay.
process? I mean, if I apply, if I go online and say I want to go rent it, you don't come back and say, either is this guy a criminal, nobody's checking that out. You know?
Okay.
And
Thank you. Okay, any other public? No more letters?
No more letters.
Thank you. Okay.
I'll make a motion to close public comment.
Yeah,
I second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So,
Got some questions?
yes, open for discussion.
First off, where's this affidavit with all the neighbors that signed it?
In your packets. Oh, not the affidavit, sorry.
Yeah, I
It
can't.
is in your packet, though. It's under public hearings.
Oh,
It's the first letter, Bruce.
Oh, okay.
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 Go to the second sheet on that. That's the,
Okay. Submitted.
Did someone
Okay.
read this letter?
Next question is for staff and everything else. Well, let me ask you a couple questions. Is there a limit of how many can stay in this house and facility? What's that kind of limit?
Yes, the ordinance
The
limits that to
ordinance.
10, yeah.
Yes.
It's what?
10.
And then I know the city had an ordinance and they were working on it that previewed before that having these kind of applications, the owner had to live at least 50% or more in the home. Has that been changed?
That was in the previous nightly rental ordinance, but the current nightly rental ordinance doesn't require the owner to live in the city.
And I also know that the city has so many nightly applications that can be applied for.
Yes, so we have one open spot for nightly rentals. Any subsequent nightly rental applications would have to go on the waiting list.
and it's based off of a percentage of the general overall right now. So as Tokerville grows, that could get a few more, but it is based off a percentage, and I'd have to look that up. I don't
It's a
know.
percentage of the culinary water connections.
Correct.
And then you made a comment in your review that it meets the city code of so far away from another nightly rental, and that was 500 something feet.
So the distance requirement is 500 feet, but this proposed nightly rental is 666 and a half feet from the closest
nightly rental.
approved nightly rental, yes.
Has the city had any complaints or anything on that nightly rental?
No.
And then two, just for clarification, if there is a complaint from the neighbors and things like that, the city would review that and can enforce or vacate the nightly rental until things are in compliance?
Yeah, so there are provisions in that ordinance to address those situations, and they would probably be handled by our code enforcement.
Okay, and then one other question. Is there a limit at night and a time in the morning when they can create noise or excessive noise? Nobody wants excessive noise, period. We all want to live and have a quality of life. But is there like at 10 o'clock, no loud music, things like that? Or does that?
The nuisance order.
It's just a nuisance.
Might fall under the nuisance ordinance.
It would be this, any person living in Tokerville City is held to be by that nuisance ordinance. So the exact times in that nuisance ordinance, has been a little while since we've looked at it. We could do that offline.
But that is a tool to use for the city to enforce people to follow rules and things like that.
It is, as there again, as code enforcement would be part of that.
I think that the neighbors should be able to have the property manager's phone number, name and phone number. So if they have a problem at night when the city's closed and they can't get a hold of anybody, they can call the property manager.
Sorry.
Could we just bring out the fact that there is no compliance officer currently.
Yes, there is a compliance officer.
Yes. One other question I noticed, I went by the property today to look at it and to look at Riker's comments and things like that and the parking and everything else. I did notice this property was lacking some landscaping. They had some retaining walls stepping up, but landscaping, of course, some of them had some nice landscaping down there and some didn't have any either. And it's a step on the side of a mountain, things like that. There is no requirements to have natural landscaping or erosion protection or decent landscaping,
Not that pertains to the nightly rental application.
but that's just, it's normal.
I think the thinking there was if they don't maintain their property, and then it's not going to encourage people to come and stay there. So that was the thinking there.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything? Tylee?
So I'm part of staff then.
You bet.
So I have one in my neighborhood, right across the street. And I felt the same thing that you guys do. The only issue we have is that the owner does not live there. And it's never there. There's another neighbor take the trash out. The only thing we've had a problem with is sometimes the renter has left garbage in the gutter when they get there at night. As far as loud noise, and I'm pretty sure theirs is probably the same, 10 people.
Yes.
Now, also the water, I'm the only man in my house when my daughters were there. 3 women taking a bath every night isn't gonna, it's just renters every other night or so.
Okay. Anything else? Angela, you have anything you want to add?
Not really, except that I live on a street where there's actually three approved, are you called nightly rentals?
Nightly rentals.
Just on my one street. And before the last one got approved, I started to personally kind of feel like, wait a minute, this feels like a hotel zone, but I moved here. It's actually my property zoned to agriculture. So I understand how they feel because that's the reason that I moved here. But having said that, I haven't really had any personal problems with any of the people that have been staying in the rentals though. So I can see both sides of it. Mm-hmm. I do think it's good that Tokerville did put a percentage limit on nightly rentals because as a real estate agent, I see different cities where the nightly rentals just kind of take over. Mm-hmm. And the residents' quality of life goes downhill because of it. So I think it was a wise move for Tokerville to at least put a limit on it.
Yeah. And I just wanted to comment that the limit is because we've been listening to the voice of the people for a long time, and it has taken us a while. And my husband was on the planning commission 5 or 10 years ago, and they were still working on it, trying to tighten it down. And it did used to be that the owner had to stay in town, but it was illegal for us to treat owners differently that way. And that's why we had to keep updating it. And I wish that we could just, if everyone doesn't want it, say no. But I also know that Keisha does have a really good reputation as a manager. And so I would anticipate that, and our hands are tied by the code. We just have to do what the code says. So I hope you'll know that we are listening to you and wish we could give you whatever you want. But
No, I'm sorry.
If you're listening, it's like, why don't we even have a public hearing?
Excuse me, you had 3 minutes. That's how it's set up. I'm sorry. That's just to try to keep decorum. So, yeah, we really, as Jenny said, we really are listening to the public. We understand that nobody wants a nightly rental on their street. This is the last nightly rental that's available until more homes are built or somebody that has one doesn't renew theirs. Unfortunately, it ended up on your street. I have one on my street. I don't like it,
Yeah.
but I had to vote to approve it because that's what the ordinance say. Every one of us feel for you. I'm sorry. We can't. I'm sorry. We can't.
Commission, though, aren't you supposed to be determining those? Or-
We are, but we also are, we are guided by the city council. We're guided by state laws. There's a lot of things that force us, and that's just the way it is. I'm sorry.
We put as many safeguards in there as we possibly could. And so we all understand what you're saying.
So when we vote on this, we have to go by code. What is our code today? If somebody doesn't like the code, then bring it up and as a suggestion to change the code. But as of today, we have to go how the code is written today. That's how our vote has to be. We can't show preferential treatment. Well, we really like you, so we don't want a nightly rental right there. But it's we have to be fair for everybody. So with that said, there's one more
I think
letter.
there's one more.
Can you read that
I
for me,
can.
please?
That was Bruce.
Oh,
He spoke.
He spoke.
okay.
Okay, good,
Thank you.
good.
Okay.
Chair.
No, sorry.
Sorry. Okay, any other questions with the commissioners?
Just a comment, has not been issued an occupancy permit right yet.
No, they do have an option.
No, this home does have a certificate of occupancy.
Existing.
There are some landscape requirements just to obtain an occupancy permit.
They've been living there.
I think they have a front yard, don't they? In
Somewhat.
landscaping somewhat.
It's not really maintained. I mean, the shrubs were not cut back this fall.
The landscaping for this proposed nightly rental doesn't apply to the application. That would have been addressed at the time the building permit was completed and the certificate of occupancy issued, so.
Yeah.
One thing that I would like to suggest to all of you here, anyone that's watching, the city office does have the phone number for Keisha or whoever else is managing a nightly rental. You are encouraged, well, I don't know, you have the ability to contact the manager if there is an issue that comes up with the nightly rental. If they can't resolve that issue, there are some stiff fines. First fine is $250. It goes up to $4,000. And then they lose their ability to have a nightly rental. Now, I'm not encouraging and suggesting that you just keep complaining until you make those people go away, because that's not honest and fair either. We just want to be fair with everybody, okay? But in the office, you can come in tomorrow, get the phone number for the manager, and if there's issues, report it.
Yeah.
Okay? Thank you. Any other questions?
Just for staff, I am concerned, and of course, it's how they build all the houses, that one sits up higher than the other one, then it tables down and things like that. There is no condition that you could put on there that they have to put a fence up so they can't look down in the neighbor's yard or something. Would you?
Existing codes.
Okay.
It would be more of on a building permit, but we do not require people to have fences between their neighbors, any types of those types of things. And yeah, topography of that whole subdivision is, over the first every 100 feet horizontal, you basically go up 10 feet through that subdivision. So there's quite a large difference in elevations through that, the higher ones. And as the ground to the west continues to develop, you guys are going to continue to have people higher than you.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve and send this on to the city council with the findings that staff has reviewed, and they're all in compliance with Title 10, Chapter 17, Section 3 of the Torkerville City Code. The proposed nightly rental will occur within the under one roof of a dwelling and not in a structure that is temporary as per section 10-17-32C, plus that it's limited to 10 occupants maximum. The proposed nightly rental meets the parking requirements. I went out there and saw that. The application, and all as I would add that it is a surface that when we have snow and rain, that they don't get stuck. But that's something that we can't do. It meets the city's requirements. The applicant provides property management, and property manager is here with the proper contact. And the proposed nightly rental complies with the minimum distance as required outline, and the proposed nightly rental has passed the fire inspection. So they have complied with all requirements of the city and the ordinances, and that's my motion to approve.
Really?
Just to
You don't have
clarify,
anything else to add on that one?
I put findings,
I
you'll
think-
find out, I put findings, the reason why.
Chairman, just to clarify, that motion would be a recommendation for approval.
Recommendation for approval, not
Not approved.
To the city council.
yes. Okay. Anybody want to second that one?
I would second the motion that the application be forwarded to the city council with a positive acceptance.
Okay. We have motion a second. All in favor? Any other discussion? Yes.
They could go before city council next week, right?
There's not a public hearing at that point.
Sure.
Correct.
Gotcha.
They can come, this is not the final,
Yeah,
this is not the final approval. City council will be the final
would be the
approval.
final approval, yeah.
So
Okay.
does that mean we can go before city council and speak?
You can attend, but you can't speak.
Yeah, it's,
This is your chance to speak.
the
And
public,
and what you did, we honestly did hear you.
Okay. Well, one thing I just talked about was the fact that Chuck Williams backs up for 1 2-day rental.
Thank you.
I-
Okay. Thank you. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so moved. And business E2, Riker?
Yes, so the applicant for this business item has requested that this be tabled. They're currently looking at some other options that they'd like to pursue, and so has requested that this be tabled.
Thank you. Move looking for a,
I make a motion that we table the discussion on the conditional use permit application by Ray Benz for a radio tower on business item number 2.
I second that motion.
motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, business E3, discussion on ordinance 2023, general plan applicability amending and restating Tocqueville City Code to create code 10-7 to create general plan policies and future land use map. Riker.
Yes, so as you know, this ordinance was drafted based on direction given in the city council meeting held on October 18th, 2023. The red line in your packet includes both those changes and the direction given in the previous planning commission meeting that was held on December 13th of 2023. As you can see, those changes are highlighted in yellow on that document. This ordinance is not in ordinance format and staff recommends that any recommendation for approval, any recommendation at all, be on that condition that it be placed in ordinance format.
Thank you. Okay, so open for public hearing.
Public hearing, yeah.
Anybody have any comments? Nobody? Okay, move that we close public hearing. Okay, any discussion amongst us? Staff?
Will you bear by?
you just changed your order there. On the last one, you called for a closing. This one you didn't.
I know.
You need to stay consistent.
Okay,
in what you do.
so how I'd like to do it is, we don't need to take a vote to close. I can just close a public hearing. What do you mean, no?
I'm not sure. I would need to.
I spoke,
Before is the chairman opens, and then there's a motion to close, so everyone's made aware Mayor, that time for the public to speak is now
Done.
Right.
Before you maybe verify from that process is let's verify with
do it.
with
Sure.
with legal just to make sure we're.
Motion to close.
It's just different than what we've been doing.
Right.
So I would say let's just continue with what we've been doing, as our attorney is not here tonight, just to be able to ask.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm not saying that's wrong.
Nope, I got you.
I just want to verify
Okay.
that it's right.
So.
Okay.
can I go?
Discussion. Dean.
Yes, sorry. Riker, just real quick, I went through all your corrections or red lines and your additions and stuff like that. I've been to quite a few of the meetings, listening to the discussion. Looks like everything is pretty much really good that you put in there. Clarifying and going through and stuff. And
Now,
so,
this is applicability, not the general plan.
okay,
Yeah, this is the ordinance 1072.
make sure I went through that one too.
Yes.
So
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
this one Daisy printed out to me and showed me how to go through it all and stuff.
Okay. Is there
So-
any questions, comments on the applicability?
No, I went through it all. I think it looks really good.
I
If we
think
got
it does too.
everything.
Yeah, I think it looks fine.
I agree.
Dean.
No,
All right.
I found it and I think he did a good job. It's very
Tylee?
clear and stuff.
Angela, you guys have any comments? Okay,
Looks good to me.
I'm looking for a motion then.
I make a motion that we approve the ordinance 2023.XX general plan applicability with a approval to be recommended to the city council
And put it.
and put it in ordinance form. Yes, thank you.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay. So good to see that one finished.
Yes.
It's a miracle. Too late for progress.
Item F5. Riker.
Yeah, so as you'll see on, this is the general plan amendment. And there's a few changes there that I'd just like
This is
to.
S. This is F.
E4.
Sorry. Yes, E4.
So you were, okay.
There are quite a few changes in there that I'd just like to point out. And these changes come from the previous meeting that was held on December 13th. One of those changes was to move those general plan policies that come from the previous ordinance that was just discussed to page 1 of the general plan.
Right there.
And you can see that those are there, and that includes the changes that were made to the ordinance as well, so that they are consistent.
Yeah, good.
On page 13 of the plan, there was the addition, yes, so there was the addition of a link to the live future land use map. And that has been included there. On page 16, direction was given to remove the reference to the transfer of development rights. There's a paragraph there that you should be able to see that's been redlined and crossed out. And then on page 19, there's a number of changes there. And those include the removal of goal 1A1, which references that TDR or PDR program. In addition to that, there was restating goal 2A2 to be continue to implement caps on short-term rentals in existing traditional neighborhoods. Under goal 2B2, to restate that as use flexible zoning tools to allow a mix of housing types in strategic areas, including along Main Street and within master planned development overlays. And then goal 2D, to restate that as apply a comprehensive planning approach to new growth areas. On page 30 of the general plan. These are alterations to the goals under the moderate income housing element. Restating goal 1B2 to read assist or encourage individuals to seek weatherization assistance from 5-county AOG to reduce utility costs and improve efficiency. And adding goal 2A3 to read collaborate with self-help building groups such as self-help homes to accommodate areas for self-help buildable lots. On page 53.
So can I just ask
Go
a
ahead,
question, clarification?
Mhm.
So these that you have here, you hadn't got put in yet to the other section? Okay.
Correct. So
The formatting, it has to be done by our consultant, but see,
Yes.
whoops, can you stop right, go back just a couple, right there? See that page 10? Those are the changes that are being made to that previous
So,
page.
yeah, so the reason they're not included and formatted the same way is because that has to be sent back to our consultant to do that. And so,
Okay.
We can't edit the PDF. It messes up the margins and all kinds of different things.
Before we go on to page 50, there's on 39, I found a mistake. Do you want me to tell you what it right now, or do you want to wait till you're done?
let's come back to it and then I'll make
Okay.
a note of that so that it can be addressed.
Go ahead.
Are we on page 50 again now?
Page 53. Was the removal of the land use zoning analysis map that was included there. And then on page 55.
So can I go back? Sorry.
Let's go through what he's got and then we'll
Well, I
go
was
back.
just going to go back to 53.
Okay.
Yeah, well, just on your 53, I see the 2, but I couldn't find the 1.
So the way that was redlined is the way it annotates in the PDF document so that I could produce that X, it produces it as 2 comments, but it is just one.
Okay, that's what I couldn't
I
figure out.
apologize for that confusion. On page 55, under goal 2, it's the removal of the word tourism in goal 2. So restating it as promote economic development through recreation, retail, and accommodations. The removal of goal 2A, changing goal 2B to goal 2A.
Okay.
Okay.
That it? Okay, on page 39. If I can find it. On the second column, the paragraph that starts with ATVs cause significant impacts.
Oh, there's a duplicate one.
There's a duplicate line there. So it says, and protect recreational experiences for other user groups, and protect recreational experiences for other user groups.
Which,
Right there.
okay, I see it.
Yeah, we can get our consultant to remove that and fix that.
I thought while we're doing it, we might as well get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty obvious mistake. And that's not a substantial change.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Anything else?
That's all I had.
Jenny? Nice. Okay.
We're getting closer.
Looks
We
to me
are,
like.
we are. We have a public hearing on that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now we'll open for a public hearing.
I just had a question.
Step up to the mic here.
Up to the mic.
I think Mr. Stagley's alluded to it.
Please step up to the mic.
State your name, please, and
Okay, my name is Richard Hoffman. I live at 1634 South Chaparral. And I was here to ask about how we're progressing with an ordinance that would be acceptable with the Water Conservancy. So those of us that have removed all of our lawns and done the desert landscaping can take advantage of that.
It's on the agenda for tonight.
It's the next agenda
That's the
item.
next item.
Good enough. Thank you. guys.
Any other comments? Okay, looking for a motion to close public hearing.
Go ahead.
I so move.
Second,
Second, we close public hearing.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now, discussion. Any other thoughts? So we may have a motion here.
Yeah.
Anybody ready to make a motion?
Sure. I make a motion that we recommend approval on discussion number 4 on the Tokerville City General Plan amended and recommend it approval to City Council.
With,
Would you like to include those that
With the
change that you
changes,
mentioned?
yes, that we've talked about tonight, and to have it redone in the proper format. Yes.
okay, we have a
second
motion
that.
and we have a second. Any other comments? Okay, we'll have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now to business item E5. Discussion of ordinance 2023XX, RDBSA, Washington County Water Conservancy District compliant landscape ordinance to bring landscape standards of the city into compliance with the water efficiency standards adopted by the Washington County Water Conservancy District. Riker.
So you'll see in your packets that there are two versions of this ordinance. The first is a version that shows the red lines to this ordinance, including changes from the previous version. And the second is a clean version that highlights all of those, all of the verbiage that came directly out of the water efficiency standards provided by the Washington County Water Conservancy District. And then just for your information, some of the differences that you'll see here in the redlined version is a change in the title from landscaping to be water efficient landscaping and conservation standards. That comes from, as we've done some research looking at some previously adopted ordinances that are compliant with that, with the district standards. That's where that title comes from. We looked at cities like Santa Clara and Ivins for that. In addition to that, you'll see that the application requirements that are included in this ordinance, the title for that has changed as per direction given in city council meeting to separate requirements for residential and non-residential applications. And so the application requirements in this ordinance apply only to non-residential applications and multifamily applications, which under the water efficiency standards is defined as 3 family or more.
Okay, thank you. So we'll open up for a public hearing. If you'd like to ask your question again.
No, I just, when do you think we will have an acceptable, something that Conservancy will accept?
We're working on it.
As soon as this gets approved,
This is
then,
probably gonna be accepted by the Conservancy?
yes, this would be.
That's
Yes.
all I care about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments? Okay. Looking for a motion to close public hearing.
I make a motion, we close the public hearing
All in favor?
on discussion
Sorry.
ordinance, the landscape ordinance.
Sorry.
Okay.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, open for discussion with commissioners. Anybody have any additional
I thought it looked really good.
comments on this?
I thought you guys did a great job on that.
I do too, and I found 2 typos or grammar errors.
There's one at the very end of the clean ordinance, after grading, after the grading plan that makes it look as if there's a third item
Yes.
there. That's just a result of the transition from the red line to the clean, so, but.
On page 3, line item 8, it says slop instead of slope. And on page 5, item C, it says a irrigation plan. And it should say an irrigation plan.
Wow, I have never sent an email to you.
I'm an English teacher. I'm very sorry.
Good catch. Okay.
Where was the location of that first?
On the 3rd page, line item 8,
Second line.
certain special purpose landscape areas may receive exceptions from the
Okay.
slop or lawn allowances.
Okay, thank you.
Like it.
I just have ask a clarification. Very good job on this, you guys.
Thank you.
When you get back into 10-25-5, section C, indoor requirements. Basically, I don't know if they picked it up, but this is in the building code or the plumbing code, the International Plumbing Code, or low flow fixtures and recirculation on your hot water heater and things like that. Is that something in the landscaping when it's something in the code?
So that came directly from the water efficiency standards, so directly from the Washington County Water Conservancy District. And that, another reason for that change in the title from landscaping, from just landscaping to water efficient landscaping and conservation standards.
And that is for conservation.
Yes.
I was just clarifying that because
Yeah, the water district is they're trying to bring even building, like you say, that water circulation, so that you don't stand there and waste 10 gallons of water waiting for your water to get hot.
Yeah.
And when you're waiting to start a shower, a lot of people do that. They find that's some of the efficiency standards that they've been talking about for a while now.
Okay. I just, that was my question.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? So I just want to say, this item and the last two items has been something that the Planning Commission has been working on forever. This is just a culmination of it, all of that work. This took a lot of time from staff, an enormous amount of time from staff, and an amazing amount of time from Planning Commission. I just want to thank everybody for working so diligently. And it wasn't so easy at times, but I think on all three of these, we've got something that's, we'll be able to stand for quite a while.
Yeah.
So thank you, guys. So
Thank you.
now, looking for a motion.
I move that we recommend that the city council approve discussion item 5 in ordinance.
E5.
E5, thank you.
With those changes that you mentioned?
With the changes, yes, with the changes mentioned this evening.
With the grammar.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I kind of like when you step